that are reopening today. From this morning, it is compulsory to cover your face on the bus or the train, and outdoor attractions like zoos and safari parks and also birds of prey centres can also open their doors. Well, Wendy Loveday, who chairs York Private Hire Association, is on the line this morning. Morning, Wendy.
Good morning, Georgie.
So, are you classed as public transport? Do you now have to wear face coverings?
Are we classed as public transport? You know, that is just one of the best questions that we're posing all of the time. I would say yes, we are a part of the public transport system, but we're constantly being overlooked. And I think nowhere is that more obvious than if you look at the very, very recent new, the 1-year transport and place strategy set by the council to rebuild York's economy after this virus, like post-COVID. There's not one mention of taxis in that document, and yet there's 1,000 taxi drivers working in York, paying licence fees, abiding by the high standards, being held to account by the strictest regulations, and yet when it comes to the council supporting us and helping us move forward through this loosening of lockdown and towards a post-virus future, we get nothing.
So
I'm not talking money.
Have you had to sort of put things in place yourself then without advice? You know, what about screens? What about face coverings? What happens when you get into one of your cabs?
Yeah. I mean, to me, the financial aspect of it isn't too big of a deal at all. I mean, I'm sure it is for some people that would have a real axe to grind on that. But I think to actually just have the support within this of making it a rule that's exactly the same as the rule that's out there for the buses and the coaches and the trains, is make the rule everybody wears a mask, everybody wears a face covering, and then it's very clear. There's no grey areas. There is a law that says you have to do this, because that means it would ensure that every driver has the comfort of knowing that they can refuse a passenger who won't comply. But at the moment, it's also wishy-washy. It's kind of like, these political statements and these council nothingness that means that what we result with is a kind of we don't really know. You choose, guys. Well, that's not good enough. We don't pay them our licence fees and etc. to be not properly directed. They have a responsibility to us to direct us properly, and they're not protecting us.
So what will you do then? Will you be asking passengers to wear face coverings? Will you be wearing face coverings and assuming that passengers will wear face coverings? How does it work?
Right, yeah. The only work that I've done through this virus myself personally is I'm a fleetways driver, and I have kept going to ensure that we fulfil the NHS contract. So I have carried the dialysis patients to and from renal unit, and we have both had to be masked up. Now, ordinarily I'd carry 3, but with this we've all been down to carrying 1, and the one passenger has to sit at the rear seat diagonally opposite the driver, so to socially distance as far as is possible in a car. And then they've got a mask on, we've got a mask on. If there's somebody that needs help to the car, we've got gloves, aprons, we've got big orange bags to put them in, we've got like the seat covers. It's a fresh seat cover every time one gets in, and I also have a perspex driver screen, which a lot of our drivers do. But there's so much controversy with the driver screens that we basically will allow the customer to request a car with a driver screen if they want one. And if they're lucky, they might get me.
Wendy, what a joy. Do you think you're going to be busy? Just quickly, how busy do you think you're going to be today with people wanting to go shopping?
I think we'll definitely be busier. I think we're heading in the right direction, but it's a long, long way to go. And I just think the most important thing is to keep everybody safe.
Wendy?
And we need firm rules.
Can't say fairer than that. Wendy Loveday, who chairs York Private Hire Association. You're listening to Georgie at Breakfast.